good morning, or good evening, depending where you're dining from. My name is Peter Liu. I am the Senior Manager for the Business Development with GlobalSF. GlobalSF is a nonprofit organization dedicated to paving the way for the international company to locate, invest, and growth in San Francisco Bay Area while helping local company expand the global market through the public and private partnership with the City County of San Francisco, OEWD. We are also a Small Business Development Center affiliate partner, so we continue to consult the service free and no charge. So make sure you are signed in with the SBDC website. It's on the our screen on chat. So we could, if you have any question or anything that we could able to help you on consult, please sign up first and then we will reach out to you. So today is basically, I know that I have put an import and export webinar, but I am basically it's going to focus mainly on the importing, and then we will have the following future webinar for the export, and that way that people could just really focus in on the importing. Okay. My address, our company website is also on the chat box, and then you could basically type in any question even after the webinar. That if you have any question, we'll be glad to get in touch with you. At the end of the thing, we will have a Q&A box. If you have any question, please type that area. I will go ahead and answer all the questions that you may have on that. Okay. So by starting the importing to the United States, my past experience has been involved over 25 years in Bay Area importing the goods from all over around the world. So today I'm basically going to focus on pretty much simple 5 topics that where most of the people did not pay attention to in detail, and it will pretty much cost you at the end and your time also. So the first topic that I'm going to talk about is identify the products. There's 2 areas that when I say identify the products is that we all started a small business. We get so excited about our products. How can we manufacture and oversee and bring imported right here? And then we will market it. And so everybody, so, when you're an entrepreneur, you start with very excited. So one thing you need to be sure about is importing product is 2 areas you need to focus. One, if you are importing the products that come in or exist, produced in other country, you mainly want to import it right here, and you want to sell it in the market on the eBay or Amazon or whatever it might be. There are a few things that you really need to pay attention to. Number 1, the product that you're bringing in, who makes the product, who designed the product, and make sure that you do your homework. There's no copyright once you import it right here and try to sell it. It will cost more when someone tried to sue you when you import a goods that is designed by other people. So that is, I would say, most of the people make a mistake when they start a small business. Number 2, does the products that you import from other country met our US code? For example, electronic, does the voltage are the same? Another thing would be, let's say you're importing a pajama for the kids' sleepwear. Does it pass the code on United States code on the flammable? So each category, you make sure you do your homework on the product that you're bringing in met our US standard code. If not, again, you will be liable for the lawsuit, and it probably will be cost a lot more than your business. Third, which is also the most detailed information that you need to pay attention to. Packaging label. Does the packaging label have instruction or detail or material of the product that you made in English? Even though if it's in English, does it really translate into the product, how to assemble, what the content is really in English where people could understand? So those are the three I picked up. The most important things that when you importing the products from other country, that it's already existing, made in other country. So make sure you do the homework on that area before you really pick up a product that bring it in that already made for another country. The second product, for example, we will say a custom-made product where you locate a factory and you want them to make the product for you the way how you see your product to be used or to design for the products. Okay. Basically, of course, if you're asking them to custom make your products, you already do your homework. Here in the United States, what are the codes and requirements are there already? So therefore, it's much more easier instead of relying on the product that you purchase and hopefully they have all these are already in proper place. If you are designing a product at the made, of course, you are going to go back and forth on the material, design, the size, and all the detailing. After all those things, the last thing you're going to ask the question is that since you're here, who will be doing your quality control? Will you go and rely on the factory who produce the products for you? Then you can do the QC. Or will you hire an agency that would do randomly check a quality? Let's say you have 1,000 boxes, you want to take 10% of the QC check on it, then you probably would go through approximately 100 boxes to check. But who's going to be taking care of that? And that is not basically on the cost of the goods. The factory will be able to cover that. So I want to cover a very simple thing on the two identifiable products right there. And on this area, if you have any question, meantime, go ahead and put on a Q&A question and I will come back and answer the question for you. My second topic that I want to cover is the identify the country. Well, it's pretty easy. We pretty much basically do look through which country we want products coming in. Mainly, we either immigrant here, we know somebody there, our family there, they could help out and do things. So we come up maybe with this, the country we come from will be able to produce our product. Or maybe you globally check on a website or through your network, which country would the best produce the product that you want to import here. Before you choose the country, you might ask yourself a question: why do I select this country to produce the products for me? Do they have a good manpower? Do they have the material that your requirements that you want them to make your products? Is the currency rate is very feasible versus the other country might be have better on a currency rate that you are exchanging from? And how about the language and culture differences? One might say, well, if I could communicate in English, they could reply me in English, we're all set. But one thing you need to remember is if the other country culture, their holiday, the national holiday, those things that you might also be accountable, remember, because the production time will be delayed if they are closed for their national holiday, and the shipment will be delayed. So those things another thing that you really need to think about when you chose the country, and you can mark it down on your calendar, on your production time, lead time, and the labor law requirements, the country that you're producing for. Because as you know, we import a product to the United States. We are required to make sure that you're producing the product in the country that you imported from met our US code law labor. So you need to be aware of that. And lastly, but not the least, the country and the location of the province or the area that manufacture for you. It's an inland. How far does it to the closest of the port? If you pick the products to be produced in an inland area, for example, if you decided the cost of the product that you bring in, it costs you $10. But you also need to remember, they have to have a transportation from the factory to the port. There is additional cost involved in that. And make sure you pay attention to those, how far is the port. Even though if they ship it to the port, it's sailed on the ocean, landed in the United States, where do you want the item to be shipped to? To where your location of your company, to your warehouse, to your home? If again, same thing. If you're living inland and the port it's coming that far away from you, those are another additional cost of bringing the merchandise to where you're located. So country, to identify the country, there is an area additional that I feel that people should really need to pay attention to. And also, if you're not there, and also you probably need to find an agency, maybe pay a little bit fee for that, but it's probably worth it because there are like your additional items located where your products are coming from. So those are small things that I feel that a lot of people do not accountable in when they are producing a product from another country. So please do pay attention on the topic, on the identify the country. Again, if you have any question regarding about the area, please put in Q&A. I will come back and answer the question. The third thing that I like to talk about, important product, detailed purchase order. In a simple way, people would look at it and say, oh, well, if I buy a product in the store, people just get a receipt on a cash register. Bing, bang, here's a receipt on your email on your phone. Purchasing order is a very important thing. It's like a contract. Make sure that you put every detail on the purchase order. Those are the requirements you are telling the factory what you want exactly, how you're going to pay them, in what currency, what ship date do you want requirement, and what's cancel date if they don't meet the quantity, the ship date. So I would say purchase order is the most important thing after you find a place that they could manufacture your products, because this could be breakable point on everything that you are worth for. So purchase order, make sure you state that, where is shipping to and where is shipping from, what currency rate that you are writing this order in US dollar or the currency the country have, because it could be very fluctuated depending on the production time. Packaging, how you want them to be packaged. If you're ordering in 1,000 units, for example, you prefer to put 50 in each carton, you must specify saying that how you want that to be packaged. And do not assume to let the factory make the decision for you. You have to think very carefully on that because it will affect on your cost at the bottom line. It's how you want to put it in your warehouse shelving. If your warehouse shelving space could fit only 25 per carton, then you might want to let them know to put 25 units in each carton. If you are importing the clothing, for example, maybe you might want to specify saying it has to be in a hanger covered with plastic bag. So when they land it into your warehouse, all you need to do is basically open the boxes. You have the rack that hanging, go there. So think all at the end when they land it to your warehouse, how you want to store your products. That will save your time, your manpower, and efficiency at the bottom line. The delivery date could be very tricky. It goes back to what I was telling you about the country, because make sure you look back on your calendar when you mark it down what country they have, what nationality, and what their holidays are, because that is going to be effect on that. So now let's talk about pricing on the purchase order. There's two things you must be able to pay attention to. Is the pricing that they quote to you is FOB versus CIF. FOB is basically stand for free on board. That is meaning that the product is shipped on the container with nothing else covered if anything has happened. Once they loaded your container into the truck, there we go. The factory are not responsible for anything it will cost your product to deliver to your place. Versus CIF, which is stand for cost, insurance, and freight. So it really depends on how you negotiate with the factory where you have this product imported from and produced it from. So really pay attention on that. At the end of the bottom line, we are here to do the business, you land it, you want to know exactly what's the bottom line of the cost of the products, so you could put the margin on it to sell to your client in the United States on that. And also the last but not the least, when it comes to purchase order, all the clear that you want on contents on the material. Let's say if you're importing a t-shirt, make sure the low label, everything's in there. And then on the document or to clear the custom, you make sure that you put down what 50% polyester, 50% cotton. Everything detail must be specified in the purchase order so the factory are following your instruction according to what you want them to do. Okay, so again, purchase order is one of the most important thing, whatever you want, and state that on that. And that's what the factory is supposed to follow, all the requirements that you needed. So there's a third thing that we're talking about importing of it. The next thing I want to talk about, number 4 issue, identify the duty rate. Yeah, you probably look and say, I could pretty much go online and check it out to identify what the duty rate, what items that I'm importing from. But I'm going to give you the little slight advantage of what I have learned. For example, if you bring in a tablecloth to be produced in overseas, you require the factory to say, well, I want a 100% cotton, for example. So I want to have the best quality for my clients. You may want to check on a website or call your broker to find out exactly that 100% cotton of the tablecloth, what is the duty rate that falls into? The duty rate is basically set what the United States government imposes on the other country, depending on which country it's coming from. what the rate they would charge. And you might want to pick it up and see if the product that I want to import from is not 100% cotton. What if I slightly change the content of the fabrication to, let's say, 50% polyester or 50% cotton? What does that duty rate fall into? You will be surprised. It could slightly change from, let's say, 8% to 4%. So that is a 50% saving. And also, if your products could fall into the Christmas category, for example, it could be no duty rate at all. So when I talk about the duty rate, it goes back to the first three topics I talked about. Which country? So therefore, if you feel that if you want to import a product from China versus, let's say, Africa, because we, United States government, have a different rate of duty for each country that import into United States. So make sure, do your homework. If it's possible, your products could be bringing in from different country. That could be your saving of your duty rate, which could add it to your profit margin. So that is the 4 items that a lot of people do not look at it closely on the percentage. The bottom line is, of course, it's a margin, it's a profit. That's why you are importing the products to here to sell to your clients. Every little bit inch do make a bit different, and it add up on your profit margin. The last topic I want to talk about is identify the broker. When people say identify the broker, what does it mean? A broker is just a broker, right? And that is not true. Like any of us when we go shopping, well, let me see if I should buy a product in Target or should I buy in Walmart. But when you talk about broker, it's one of the most important issue for anybody who importing products to United States. Why? You did all your work searching the factory, do all your work on material, designing products, and talking to the manufacturer what your requirements are. You've done all of that already. There's only one step left before it hit to your warehouse. You must identify a good broker. What does a broker mean? Every brokers are different depending on the price, pretty much like any service. And that is not true. Because if it's good broker, depending on the sizes, what they could do is, do this one broker that you contact with could able to clear the custom for you at the port of your products that landing wherever you are in your location in the United States. If the broker has been in business for quite some time and have a good reputation, have service, they have a very good relationship with the ports people over there. So therefore, it could basically break when you able to pick up, the broker could able to pick up the product and container from that port because of the relationship that they have built in. Okay, you say, okay, if I pick up a broker, they do have a good relationship, they go able to clear my custom for me, then that's easy. But one more thing, go back to what I said on the manufacturer was located. Meaning that if you're located, your warehouse is inland away from that port area, that this broker have also service that they could require, able to clear the custom from the port and have a truck, the same thing, pick it up and able to transport that container through the truck to your destination If it does, you're basically one stop, able to complete when the items is landed here in the United States near the port and landed to your warehouse. So it might cost a little bit, but at the end, maybe you make up on the duty rate that you select. Maybe you negotiate better on your price on the factory that you negotiate and pay on this better, more fees on this better broker. So that is very important at the end to identify a good broker. One last thing regarding about container. If your products cannot fit in 20-foot container or 40-foot container, bear in mind, you're going to be sharing one container with someone else. If the other party who put part of their goods in the container as your products in, if that company, the sharing the container does not have a proper documentation to clear the custom, the whole container will be holding at the port until the company clear their paperwork with the port authority and custom. Then your goods will be also be able to release. So these are all the small tips. And of course, if you're a small company, want to start it, you pretty much have no choice by sharing a container. But we all know with pandemic, all the ports has been shut down and finally reopened. The ports is so busy and backed up. The container price has been skyrocketed. And it had not foreseen to ease at this moment, where one of the biggest, third largest port located in China has been shut down because of COVID last week. So pay attention on the shipping time if you are trying to bring in imports, products from another country. Give you a little bit extra time on that and make sure that they did not miss your delivery. If you're selling the seasonal products, it could either kill or break if they landed right here past the seasonal product that you're selling. You almost as well, even with the discount, I don't know if you'll be able to recover the cost of selling all those products. So I kind of go through a very simple detail about the important products. I mean, everybody could basically go online and pull up the information, but I specifically want to pay attention on these small little bit detail as you choosing your products manufactured from overseas, anywhere in other country. Pay attention on these little detail of the products right here, and hopefully be a success when you import products. And I hope I had give the information to understand a little bit about importing products. Since we got a little extra time right here, what I want to kind of go through is that if you're importing products, for example, anything related wood, furniture, or wooden products, make sure the product that they're producing, whichever country you're having produced, mission product is fumigated, because weather change. By the time landing here, if the weather here in the United States, wherever you are, if it's cooler than where the products coming from over there, it certainly will affect on your product when they land here in a short period of time. It will be the damage. So make sure you cover everything right here, because you do all the work already. The last thing you want to do is all a small detail that you did not pay attention to will totally affect your importing your product and be successful at what you want to gain to your business. So I am pretty much make it simple on this imported products. And I hope that I give some small detailed information to all of you guys, which is the most important to me in my past over 25 years experience on that area. So I am going to start looking at Q&A. If anybody have questions that I will answer from there. Okay, one of the questions that someone asked right here is what the best way to check a possible copyright infringement? Well, when you are designing a product, if you are designing products, you could basically do the copyright here and why it's pending. So I strongly suggest if you're designing your own products, go ahead, bear in mind that if your product is something that's different, make sure that you go ahead and do the copyright. Some depending on, again, it really depending on category of the products where you're going through. And then there is a website that you can also check on the infringement on copyrights and see if the product or design that you are designing from, it's already have copyright by someone else. It does not cost, again, it really depends on the category. It really does not cost a lot of money to register at USPS to design a product. Let's say if you are a graphic designer that you're going to produce a t-shirt, for example, once you design it, t-shirt or paper of paper, when you design it on computer, whatever it might be, a simple way that you could copy that and register it, boom, you put it in the mail. The day that they received it, they put the stamp on right there with your logo, your company name already, that you have copyright that already. So I hope I have answered that question for you. And I know if you're in the computer part, it's more a little bit different a scenario on that. Okay. Is the second question I want to is they have right here is the broker in the United States or in a foreign country? Okay. Since today I'm talking about imported alone, basically is the broker would be on the country that you are importing your product to and where you can do the business. For example, if I'm importing a product from India and the land I want to be shipped it to California, then the broker you will be using in California, I really strongly suggest to use the local broker. I mean, you could hire, let's say, Washington State broker to clear the custom for you. Unless this broker has a huge connection with throughout the United States, it's a different story, which I mostly doubt it. So I would probably recommend that you use the broker in California because they're local. You could pick up the phone call and they're much more easy if you want to solve any issue that you may have. So I hope I answered that question for you regarding about the broker. Does anybody have any other question? Again, my website is on the chat, and make sure that if you have any question later on after the seminar, please, email me, and don't forget to register with SBDC. So therefore, if you have any question or if you need us to consult for you at free, no cost, you must register in SBDC. And if you have other questions that you may have regarding about GlobalSF, our website is right there too. So please utilize us. So let's see. Okay, I got one more question from them. Does a manufacturer need to clear the custom before shipping out? What the manufacturer does not have to clear the custom for you. What they need to require is that they make sure that they have a proper document, meaning that the document had to be stated in what this product is for, of course, where you're shipping to, what is the weight of this product, and what's the content of this product is made out of. And also, before I forget, the boxes of the thing that you manufacture must have a stamp or print a label saying that made in India, made in Africa, made in China. It must have to be in each boxes. So to answer your question, no, the manufacturer does not need to clear custom for you. All the requirement is that they need to have all the requirement that what they need to fill up on the shipping out of their country, what the government requirement, mainly basically what products you are shipping to and what products are made out of all those documents and weight and content of the boxes. And that's all basically what they need to fill out that custom form, because once they fill that out, they will basically go into the country on the business area to define how much volume or products that they ship out of this country just for the country purpose out of it. So I hope I answered that question for you, the last question. Does anybody have other questions that you may have? I hope that I answered all the question. I know it's not an importance. That's the last, I want to say the last thing, but it's the last thing that your desire after you get excited about what product that you want to bring in to start your own business. But again, I really emphasize on these small, tiny detail, which could be really bring it. So, okay, I have one more question right here. Is it, if you are just starting out, what best resources? Okay. Most of the people, the question they ask is, well, I got this idea, I want to bring the product in, where's the best resource I could have? Normally we pick up the friends or family who over the country to see if they had this part that could be able to make, so you kind of feel secure that someone could follow up for you or get a contact for you more. But I think the best resource is each country has its own ability or what they're good at it and what materials they have. So I would say if you are planning to get in the category that you want to import it from, you could look in your wherever you are in local and find out your competitors of the product, where they coming from. I'm just going to take an example. If you go into your competitors and look at if the product is made in, let's say, China, for example, then what you could do is that right now, much easier where you could go online and looking from factory and find out if, which manufacturer could do for you, or you could connect it through the simple, let's say if you are in a small town, you don't know anything about it or where the country that you need to produce a product, the best way to do it is go to contact. Let's say if you want to import from China, contact the China embassy. Most of the embassy consulate will have this department where they handle the economic business area, where they could refer it to, and which factories will make out of it. So that probably is the best way. Look at your competitor, what they made out of, which means that the factory probably already made. Or another thing that if you're able to attend, or right now because of COVID, we basically cannot, but we could basically to attend the Zoom if they have most of the seminar. Let's say a good example would be China will have a bit in Canton, Guangzhou, province have two the exhibit show, huge, been doing it for 130th and always done in the month of April and October. So there has one coming up in October the 15th through the November the 2nd, which will be virtual. And there is all sort of products right there. You can go to their website and find out. And a lot of these company will direct you which manufacturer who do what. So I hope I answered that question for you on that. Okay, does anybody have any other question? Let's see. Okay, there's one right here. What was the website that I was saying about the copyright and duty rate? Well, you could go into, if you are, let's say, mainly we're talking about United States, you could go to the U.S. Custom and find on a website and find out the duty rate. Or you could type in and Google it up and say the duty rate, and they will have a lot of more information on how to go about to find out that. And the copyright, it basically is the I will have to check on what the copyright on this right now. I know that there is a U.S. Postal Service basically do have a copyright on that, and depending on category you're talking about. Okay, so they please check on that depending on your products, again, depending on your design. So one more thing I want to answer is also do research and export beside importing from local sources you mentioned. Do a research on, let me understand this, what Susan Wong is asking me is also do research for exporting beside importing from local research. Okay. I know the next webinar I will be talking about the exporting area, but if I am, have to answer this question regarding about the exporting, the resource that you want to know is basically the perfect way is that which country you want to export it to. If you select it, let's say, for example, a country, I'm going to use example again, for India, for example, then you will probably go to India or contact Indian consulate, same department on their economic department. They will have someone who's in charge of to able to locate the company in the India. So you could find it. Or another thing that you might want to look for it is to, let's say if you're exporting a fruit, for example, or you want to export to you may want to contact the California Agriculture Department, and they do have a list of which country and what some information will lead you to. So I hope that I kind of answered the question, Susie, in a way for the export. Okay, what was the name of the trade show you asked? The trade show is Canton Fair, CANTON, Canton Fair. So let me type a see if it's on Canton Fair in China. It will be is on October 15 to November 2nd, I believe. This is the 130th. So you could pretty much find a lot of things over there. Okay. Check on let's see. Okay. Does anybody have other questions that you may have? Please go ahead and type in Q&A. Also, please do check our GlobalSF.biz website. You will probably find a lot more other service that we do, that we have, that we could able to assist you with. And then don't forget again to register in SBDC. And so when we off the webinar, you could register then, and then we could able to assist you with consulting for you any question that you may have. Okay. Okay, there was one more question. How has pandemic affected import and export? Well, it definitely, when pandemic hit, like everyone else in every country, there's delay on the people go back to work. So it definitely shipping time for sure has not been able to be coming on according to the time, and also the price, as we could see in United States, where can get a worker to come back to work, or find a worker to come, and they have to offer a higher rate to to pay for the price to come in. So it definitely affect. And also there's a lot of different insurance and costs, everything has gone up. So that has affected tremendously on the cost on a product, and as I mentioned to you, on the port, on the broker, as I said earlier, shipping coming container in all previous, before the pandemic, just take a 40-foot container coming from China. It's roughly about over 4,000, 5,000 only. Right now, the highest is even go up to 20,000. Just for think about the shipping cost alone had tripled that. So who's going to pay for that? It's going to add on the cost, and the retailer is going to sell a lot more time. So I hope besides the delay time, the cost is significant on the products that you are importing from. People are charging higher because they had to bring extra labor that might not have experience in their field. So they might be slowing down on the production. Therefore, they had to bring in more people to finish the production. So cost and timetable are the two biggest effect on this pandemic area. Okay, I appreciate for everybody's time. And again, I hope this information I provided really help you regarding about the import to United States. And I will have a set up another session for exporting. And thank you so much for the attending. And I will see you guys soon. Okay, one last thing I just popped up. What is our company website? It's stated right here. I am going to type it up right here. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.